The dust swirled across Main Street like red devils dancing in the sun. Mary Ellen Whitfield pressed herself against the side of Hartley's General Store, her breath shallow, her heart hammering. Through the dirty window, she could see her father's bent shoulders, hunched over the poker table. His trembling hands pushed the last cattle deed across the green felt. The other men at the table smiled like hunters watching a trapped animal. "That's it, Samuel," Theodore Garrison drawled. He owned half the town and wanted the rest. His gold watch chain gleamed as he leaned forward. "Your debt is square now. And as we agreed, your daughter comes to work in my household. Permanent like." Mary Ellen's stomach twisted. Everyone in town knew what Garrison meant by household work. His 2 young wives had gone into the ground within a year of marriage, their faces marked by bruises no one dared speak of. Mary Ellen was only 19. Have you ever watched someone you love gamble away your future? Have you ever stood helpless while strangers decided what your life would become? The saloon doors burst open, and out stumbled her father, face gray with drink and shame. Garrison and his men followed. Samuel Whitfield's eyes met his daughter's and crumpled. "Mary Ellen," he whispered, "I had no choice. The drought, the cattle dying. You'll be cared for." Garrison's thick fingers reached for her arm. "Come along now, girl." Mary Ellen yanked back, her patched dress catching on a nail. "Well, I ain't going with you." Sheriff Boone stepped into the street, badge glinting in the light. Everyone knew he worked for Garrison more than for the law. "Now, Miss Whitfield," he said lazily, "don't make this hard." That was when a voice cut through the air. Seems to me the lady said no. Every head turned. A man stood in the middle of the street, his coat pushed back to show twin colts at his hips. His shadow stretched long across the dust. He had the look of someone who had ridden through hell and come back changed. Weathered hat, scarred face, and gray eyes as cold as a winter storm. Jacob Carter. No one knew him yet, but everyone could see trouble rode with him. "This ain't your affair, drifter," Garrison spat. Jacob shifted, resting his hand on his gun like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Funny thing about affairs. They find me whether I want them or not." Mary Ellen studied him. Scars crisscrossed his face, one running from his eye to his jaw, another hidden beneath his collar. Dust clung to him thick as flour. Yet his eyes, heart-storm gray eyes, met hers with something she had never seen before. Not pity, not hunger, but recognition. "You know who I am." Garrison blustered, puffing up like a rooster. "I own the mercantile, the bank, and half the cattle interests in this valley. I could have you run out before sundown." "Yeah, I know who you are," Jacob said slowly. "Heard tell you're eyeing the widow Martinez's land. Mighty convenient how she refused to sell, then died sudden of fever." Gasps rippled through the street. Garrison's face turned purple. "Sheriff, arrest him." But Sheriff Boone hesitated. Everyone could see it. The stranger had the look of a man who had sent plenty of others to their graves. Garrison lunged for Mary Ellen. Jacob's gun cleared leather faster than thought. The shot cracked the air and Garrison's had spun into the dirt, a hole clean through its crown. Jacob's Colt leveled at the merchant's gut. "Next one goes lower," Jacob said calmly. No one moved. The merchant's men looked at one another, but stayed put. "Here's how it is," Jacob continued. "You're going to tear up whatever paper her father signed. That's gone. Anyone has a problem, they can take it up with me and my friends here." He tapped his holsters. "You can't just," Garrison began. "Sure I can. See, I don't stomach men who buy women like cattle. Had enough of that in the war. Learned to hate it." His voice dropped to a dangerous hiss. "Now walk away." Garrison's jaw worked, but he saw the truth in Jacob's eyes. He motioned to his men. They slunk off, Sheriff Boone following close behind. Soon the street was empty, save for Mary Ellen, her father, and the stranger. Samuel Whitfield shrank into himself. "Mister, I thank you. But you don't know what you've done. Garrison owns this town. He'll do nothing tonight." Jacob cut him off, his gaze fixed on Mary Ellen. That gaze felt like it stripped her bare, seeing every hurt, every shame. "You got somewhere safe?" "We got a shack outside town," she managed. Jacob nodded. "Then go there. Garrison won't trouble you tonight if he's smart." He turned to Samuel. "And you'd best leave the cards alone, old man. Next time I might not be around." Samuel slunk away, leaving Mary Ellen alone with Jacob. "Why?" she asked. Jacob tilted his head. "Why what? Why help me? You don't know me." For the first time, a flicker of a smile touched his scarred face. "Maybe I've got a weakness for lost causes." He touched his hat brim. "You'd best get home, miss. Storm's coming." She glanced at the clear sky, puzzled. But when she looked back, he was already walking away. "Wait," she called. "Your name?" "Jacob Carter." She lifted her chin. "Mary Ellen Whitfield." He studied her a moment. "Word of advice, Miss Whitfield. This town's about to get complicated. Garrison won't forget. Neither will the folks who watched. Let them talk," she said bitterly. "They've been talking my whole life. Poor Mary Ellen. Worthless Mary Ellen." His eyes softened. "That what you believe? Doesn't matter what I believe. It's what is." "No," Jacob said quietly. "That's what was. Everything changes after today." Thunder rumbled far off in the mountains. When Mary Ellen looked back, Jacob was at his horse, mounting with fluid grace. "Where are you staying?" she called. "Jameson's old cabin by the river. 3 miles north." He gathered his reins. "Why?" She didn't know. She only knew that when he had stood for her, something inside her cracked open, something long buried. Jacob tipped his hat and rode away, his silhouette framed against the gathering storm clouds. Mary Ellen walked home through the rain, soaked to the bone, but not caring. For the first time in 19 years, she felt the whisper of possibility, and possibility was more dangerous than any gun. Do you believe that sometimes strangers see us more clearly than the people who've known us our whole lives? That one act of protection can crack open a heart locked shut by years of shame. The morning after Jacob Carter faced down Theodore Garrison, Mary Ellen woke to silence. Her father was gone. Only a scribbled note lay on the rough table. "Gone to find work in Silver Creek. Don't follow." Her heart sank. Samuel Whitfield had left her alone in a town that already whispered her name with scorn. Before noon, the first stone struck the wall of their shack. "Garrison's woman," a voice jeered. "Come out and face what you brought on us." Mary Ellen peered through a crack in the shutters. Caleb Foster stood out front, the same boy who had once courted her with flowers, but turned cruel when she refused his wandering hands. Behind him gathered townspeople, their faces twisted with fear and righteousness. "You brought that killer here," shouted Martha Conincage, widow and keeper of the town's social circle. Her lace-gloved hand pointed at the shack like a judge passing sentence. "Now Garrison threatens to raise prices at the mercantile until you're gone. You've cursed us all." Another stone smashed the window. Mary Ellen clutched her mother's old shotgun, though the weapon was more rust than iron. Her hands trembled. She had never felt so cornered. Then came the sound of hoofbeats. Slow, steady. Jacob Carter rode into view on his black gelding. He did not rush. He did not draw his guns. He simply rode straight into the crowd, as though they were morning fog. "Afternoon, folks," Jacob said, voice calm as still water. "Fine day for a social call." "This doesn't concern you," Martha snapped. "We're here to make Miss Whitfield see reason." "Reason?" Jacob tilted his head. "Interesting word. Which part of the good book tells you to stone a woman because a drunk father sold her like cattle?" Martha's cheeks burned red. "She brought trouble to our town." "No, ma'am. Trouble was already here. Wore a merchant's coat and paid your sheriff to look the other way. All this girl did was say no." He shifted in his saddle. The movement exposed his holsters. The message was clear. "Go home," Jacob said softly, "before someone does something they regret." Caleb stepped forward, fists clenched. "You can't threaten all of us." Jacob's smile was winter cold. "Son, I faced down cavalry charges. You and a handful of shopkeepers don't worry me." One by one, the crowd broke apart. People muttered excuses, heading back to their chores. Caleb lingered, rage in his eyes. "She's trash," he spat. "Like her mama before her." In a flash, Jacob dismounted. His hand clamped Caleb's collar, lifting him off his feet like a rag doll. "Finish that sentence," Jacob whispered, voice low and deadly, "and I'll help you dig your own grave." Caleb's face went white. He nodded frantically. Jacob dropped him in the dirt. Caleb scrambled away, stumbling like a whipped dog. Silence hung heavy. Jacob turned to the shack. "Miss Whitfield, you can come out now." Mary Ellen opened the door, shotgun still clutched in her hands. She stepped into the sunlight, her heart pounding. "They'll be back," she said. "Probably." Jacob's gray eyes scanned the hills. "That why your father ran?" Shame burned her cheeks. "He's not brave. Most men aren't." Jacob's gaze swept over the broken window, the thin walls, the patched roof. "You can't stay here. I've got nowhere else." Jacob was quiet for a long moment. Then he sighed. "Pack your things. You're coming with me." Her breath caught. "To your cabin?" "I'll bunk in the barn. You'll have the cabin. Safer there. Unless—" his eyes met hers, steady. "Unless you'd rather wait here for them to return with torches tonight." Mary Ellen looked around at the broken window, the stones scattered in the dirt, the emptiness of her father's note. She knew he was right. "Give me 10 minutes," she said. She packed quickly. 2 dresses, her mother's Bible, a faded daguerreotype of her parents, and a loaf of stale bread. Everything she owned fit into one carpetbag. When she stepped outside, Jacob had already hitched their mule to the wagon. He lifted her bag, placed it in the back. That's all. Never had much to begin with. Something flickered in his storm-gray eyes. Recognition, perhaps. Or memory. They rolled out of town under watchful eyes. Curtains twitched. Doors cracked. Whispers chased them. But Mary Ellen sat tall, her chin high. The ride north was quiet. Dusty prairie gave way to cottonwood groves. The river shimmered in the afternoon sun. When they reached the cabin, Mary Ellen drew a sharp breath. It stood snug by the bend of the river, sheltered by tall trees. Its chimney stone and strong. A barn leaned nearby, and a well-bubbled clear water. "It's beautiful," she said softly. "It's defensible," Jacob corrected. Yet she caught the ghost of a smile on his scarred face. Inside, the cabin was sparse but clean. A straw mattress bed, a table with 2 chairs, shelves lined with supplies. Every item neat, ordered, military precise. "Why are you doing this?" The question tumbled out before she could stop it. He hesitated in the doorway, framed by fading sunlight. "Because once in Kansas, I was ordered to burn a farm." A girl stood in front of her family. 16, maybe. Brave as anyone I'd ever seen. "I let them run. Could have cost me my life. When Garrison grabbed you, I saw her again." Mary Ellen's throat tightened. "I've done plenty I can't undo," Jacob said. "But maybe I can do this one thing right." "I'm not brave," Mary Ellen whispered. He studied her, gray eyes fierce. "You faced Garrison. You stood against a mob. That looks like bravery to me." He left then, walking toward the barn. Mary Ellen stood in the doorway, the river gleaming gold in the evening light. For the first time in her life, she felt a flicker of possibility. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't worthless after all. Have you ever discovered that the thing you thought made you weak was actually the seed of your strength? That being saved once can teach you how to save yourself. The first week at Jacob Carter's cabin passed in a rhythm Mary Ellen had never known. He rose before dawn, working with the quiet precision of a soldier. She would brew strong coffee, leave it on the porch, and though he never thanked her, the cup always came back empty. By the 8th day, Jacob placed a revolver in her hands. "Shotgun's no good. Rusted. This will do better." The weight surprised her. Cold heavy. She held it awkwardly. "Number like this." Jacob stepped behind her, adjusting her grip. His calloused hands covered hers, rough but careful. "Don't fight it. You're in control." Mary Ellen trembled, not from fear of the gun, but from his nearness. The warmth of him, the steadiness. "Breathe," he said softly. "Now sight it. See that tin can. Point. Don't think." Her shot missed by yards. Jacob only nodded. "We'll practice again tomorrow." Each day after, he taught her something new. How to track, how to move silently, how to listen to the land. She learned quickly, surprising even herself. "You'd make a fine scout," he told her once. "For which side?" She asked lightly. "Doesn't matter now. War's done. Least for most." She caught him watching her often, not like other men had, hungry and crude. His gaze held something different. A question. A battle he fought inside himself. One morning she found the river pool half a mile downstream, its waters clear, inviting. She had been washing in basins for weeks. Now she longed for more. So she went alone, rifle slung over her shoulder as he'd taught her, a clean dress folded under her arm. At the water's edge, she hesitated. Then she stripped off her patched dress, her thin chemise, her worn drawers, until she stood bare under the rising sun. The cool air raised gooseflesh on her arms. She stepped into the pool, gasping at the chill, sinking until the current hugged her shoulders. For the first time in memory, she felt clean, free. A twig snapped. Mary Ellen spun, heart hammering. Jacob stepped from the trees, leading his horse. He stopped dead when he saw her. For a moment, the world held its breath. The morning light struck her wet skin, turning droplets into jewels. Her dark hair spread across the water like silk. She should have hidden, covered herself, screamed. But something in her rebelled. She rose slowly, the water streaming from her body. Jacob's mask cracked. Hunger, pain, wonder, all raw in his storm-gray eyes. "Mary Ellen," he rasped, her name rough as gravel. She moved toward the bank, unashamed. "Thought you went to town. Dick came back. Saw your rifle was gone. Got worried." His fists clenched, his jaw tight. I should leave." "Should you?" she asked quietly. He tore off his coat, thrust it toward her without meeting her eyes. "Here." She stepped from the water, took the coat, wrapped it around her. It smelled of leather, smoke, and him. She touched his hand as she did, holding his gaze. "I'm not sorry you saw me." His eyes darkened. He lifted his hand, brushed her cheek with trembling fingers. "You're too young, too clean. I've got blood on these hands. Don't deserve. I'm not pure," she said fiercely. "I'm just a woman who sees you, Jacob Carter. Not the gunfighter, not the killer. You." His control shattered. He pulled her to him, kissed her with a hunger barely leashed. His lips were rough yet careful, teaching her what a kiss could be. Confession, longing, promise. She clung to him, coat slipping, their bodies pressed together. When they parted, both breathless, Jacob's forehead rested against hers. "This changes everything." "Yes," she whispered. "It does." But their peace was short-lived. That night, torches flickered on the horizon. A mob approached, garrison at its head. "Stay inside," Jacob ordered, checking his rifles. "I'm not leaving you," Mary Ellen said firmly, rifle in hand. "We stand together." On the porch, they faced 30 riders. Garrison's voice thundered. "Send out the girl, Carter. This isn't your fight." Jacob's voice was iron. "She's made her choice. Same as me." Martha Conincade shrieked. "She's brought shame. Living in sin with this killer." Mary Ellen stepped forward. "The only shame here is yours. 30 of you against 2. Real brave." The crowd muttered. Caleb Foster shouted, "She's nothing but trash." Jacob's gun cleared leather in a blink. "Finish that word, boy, and I'll end you." But Mary Ellen's voice rang out louder. "No, let me speak." She walked into the torchlight, rifle steady in her hands. "You call me worthless trash, but I've worked since I was 12, keeping house while my father drank. I'd been grabbed, insulted, treated like dirt, and I stayed silent. No more." She raised her chin. "Jacob Carter saved me from being sold like cattle. He taught me to stand tall, to fight back. If that makes me fallen in your eyes, then I'll fall proud." The crowd wavered. Whispers rose. The blacksmith's wife spoke up. "She's right about Garrison." "Shut up," Garrison bellowed. But the spell was broken. People turned against him. Sheriff Boone rode forward, threw down his badge. "No more, Garrison. Not for me." One by one, the mob dissolved. Garrison cursed, but even he saw it was over. For tonight, when the last torchlight faded, Mary Ellen trembled. Jacob stepped close, his hand brushing hers. "That was foolish," he murmured. "Brave as anything I've seen, but foolish." She managed a shaky smile. "Learn from the best." His gray eyes softened, walls crumbling. "What you said, did you mean it?" "Every word." He cupped her face, his thumb tracing her cheek. "They'll never stop talking. You'll be marked forever." "Then I'll make my own mark," she whispered. "With you if you'll have me." Jacob pulled her into his arms, and Mary Ellen let the rifle fall, choosing him instead. The river roared in the distance. The stars wheeled overhead, and in the cabin by the water, 2 broken souls chose each other, whatever the cost. Do you believe that sometimes love isn't about being saved, but about finding someone worth fighting beside? That shame transforms into strength when you stop hiding and start choosing yourself. This story reminds us that worthless is a lie told by people who profit from your silence, that courage looks like standing naked, literally and figuratively, before someone and saying, "This is who I am," and that the most powerful thing a woman can do is refuse to be bought, sold, or shamed into submission. If this story moved you, subscribe to hear more tales from the frontier, stories of women who were called worthless until they proved the world wrong, men scarred by war who found redemption in protecting the defenseless, and love that grew not from rescue, but from two people choosing to stand together when the whole world said they shouldn't. Share your thoughts if you believe that sometimes the person you think needs saving is actually the one who teaches you how to be brave. Sometimes the most powerful moment isn't when clothes come off, but when masks do. And sometimes falling means rising stronger than you ever stood before.